Let me just dispel one thing. Per square. We all have this thought of like, I charge this much per square for my roofing, okay? Or in this market, roofing goes for this much a square, okay? Or the adjusters are only paying this much per square for roofing, okay? I want to encourage everybody here to get rid of that line of thinking, all right? The per square pricing, get rid of it, especially after this. We have roof A and roof B. Both roofs side by side, exactly the same size, 30 squares. 30 squares on roof A, 30 squares on roof B. So we should charge the same price per square, right? Wrong, because roof A, 288 linear feet of drip edge. Roof B, 122 linear feet of drip edge. Roof A, 2-story. Roof B, 1-story. Roof A, 912 pitch, 612 pitch, right? Chimney, no chimney. Chimney cap, like I said, no chimney. Skylights, no skylights. Special access, no special access. Are you kidding me? Per square, right? 12 pipe jacks, 4 pipe jacks. Dude. Everything here, right? Like they have the flashing pipe jacks, right? But do they? What's wrong with that item right there? Anybody tell me what's wrong with that line item right there? Flashing pipe jack lead. 2, they've got it on there, right? No remove. Got it. Bingo. Right? No remove. So we just need to slow down, don't we? I mean, it's not there, you know? It's not there. And so like, we need to look at, but it's there. It's correct there, right? R&R exhaust cap. It's correct up there on the drip edge, right? I mean, like, so normally none of them are correct when you look at it. And if I were to say to them, well, you don't have the removal on there. They're like, what do they say? Well, that's included in the tear off, right? Sound familiar? That's included in the tear off. Well, it's not included in the tear off. For those of you who use Xactimate and are somewhat familiar with it, it's not included with the tear off. You know, if you look at the item for removal of shingles and you click on the illustration, it shows you what that includes, right? And it says that it includes removal of the shingles and the felt. That's it. It doesn't say drip edge and vents and skylights and chimney flashing and chimney caps and siding and give me a break. Like that's like their catch-all go-to move. It's all included with the tear-off. No, it's not, right? So like when you see my estimate, you'll see the illustration included in the estimate that says, this is the official exact wear description for this item. Okay, we'll get to that. But you would think that I point that out to them, right? And I show them that no, it's not included in the tear-off. According to exact wear, that ought to do it, right? Wrong. No, it doesn't solve anything. So like my point is when they give you their argument, they're wrong, you show them that they're wrong and it still doesn't do any good. Fair enough. I mean, I think we can all agree to that. Like that's kind of the nature of this game. And so, but we have to start by identifying the problems, all right? We are going to put it together into a strategy. But in this case, we shouldn't even have to do that. Because they can't use that argument, can they? They can't say it's included with the tear-off because they've contradicted themselves here and here, right? Like they're wrong. So it just really helps to understand these things before we even get started. You know what I mean? All right, now, a couple other problems that I'm just seeing right away with it. I see that they have removed shingles and replaced shingles with waste. I don't think it's going to be enough waste, right? That's always a problem that we come into, right? Like, oh no, we only give 5% gables and 10% whatever else, okay? Like, I'm going to put on there, like, I'm going to submit to you guys, I don't think any of us know how much waste it should be. Okay? Like, we can all make our best determination of that. But if you're going to follow along with what I do is I'm always going to send my supplement, my estimate, before the build. Okay? That's very, very, very important. I feel like most people here know that. Okay? But based on the hundreds and hundreds of contractors who have come to me asking for my help with supplements for them, an alarming amount, maybe even a majority, bring those things to me after they've already built the job. No, right? That's a no, okay? Like, that is not how I do things, okay? Like, I can't tell you that's wrong, because I told you I wasn't going to do that. I'm just sharing with you my methods, right? But I'm always going to submit my supplemental estimate before the build, all right? Not to mention, I mean, they have on just any insurance company cover letter, it says right there, we have the right to, to review any estimates that are above and beyond this. We have the right to inspect new damage and all of that. And so, like, for those ones through the years who have brought me wanted me to work on their estimates after they've already built the job, I have had success with getting them more money. You know what I mean? Like, with simple things, like if it was the measurements were wrong, right? They were missing drip at, simple things that are just glaring omissions that can't really be argued. We're going to get them on there and get more money. We might get them to change the price list, because for those of you who don't know, the price list changes every month with Exactware, right? And so, and it's based on replacement cost value, meaning that they owe for what it costs to replace the roof when you replace it, okay? Not when the storm hit. And so if there's a big hailstorm around here, or a tornado, or anything, right, that affects the whole area, then if I'm you guys, I would go do the emergency services, do the tarp, do all that stuff, right? But I would not submit the estimate until Exactware comes out with the new price list. See, I think a lot of times they send the adjusters out there after something like that happens, and they hurry to get it inspected before the new price list even comes out. You got to understand something, guys. The people that supplement insurance claims, like that go back and ask for more money, it's like this. It's like this. Like, it's a very, very small percentage of all claims actually go back to get more money. I know that seems crazy, because for us, that's all we ever do, right? Like, we go back and get more money. But most people don't. They just take that first check, and they take the insurance adjuster's word for it, including an alarming, overwhelming number of contractors across this country, not just here, but everywhere. And I've done a lot of claims in this region, too, through the years. So I'm familiar with this area. I love this one. Oh, yeah, Chad, you just don't know the adjusters here. They're different here. They're not, guys. I mean, they have their differences, but they're not different, right? But so now, let me just dispel one thing. Per square. We all have this thought of, like, I charge this much per square for my roofing, okay? Or in this market, roofing goes for this much a square, okay? Or the adjusters are only paying this much per square for roofing, okay? I want to encourage everybody here to get rid of that line of thinking, all right? The per square pricing, get rid of it, especially after this. We have roof A and roof B. Both roofs side by side, exactly the same size, 30 squares. 30 squares on roof A, 30 squares on roof B. So we should charge the same price per square, right? Wrong, because roof A, 288 linear feet of drip edge. Roof B, 122 linear feet of drip edge. Roof A, 2-story. Roof B, 1-story. Roof A, 912 pitch, 612 pitch, right? Chimney, no chimney. Chimney cap, like I said, no chimney. Skylights, no skylights. Special access, no special access. Are you kidding me? Per square, right? 12 pipe jacks, 4 pipe jacks. Dude, everything on the roof needs to be replaced. If the roof is damaged, like if you have coverage and it's 100% coming off, everything else is coming off too. Let me tell you why. Because flashing, it all has to be replaced. It all has to be replaced. And flashing's on everything. The pipe jacks, exhaust caps, right? We have skylight flashing, chimney flashing, step flashing, sidewall flashing, right? Guess what? All flashing, not some flashing, not hail damage flashing, not wind damage flashing, all flashing must be replaced where rusted, damaged, or deteriorated. That's a building code that we're going to get into a little later, right? And so does the building code say it has to be hail damage? No. So if I have the 12 pipe jacks on my estimate, remove and replace, the adjuster's like, why are you replacing all the pipe jacks? We didn't see damage to all those pipe jacks. Oh yeah, no, they all have to be replaced due to the building code. And here's the building code right here, right? Here's the adoption page and here's the code that proves that it must, I have to comply with the law, right? And they say, oh no, we didn't see any hail damage. The code doesn't say anything about hail damage, you know what I mean? It's crazy. But all flashing must, and so look, yeah, but then we have to establish that it's damaged or rusted or deteriorated, right? Well, how was the flashing installed? Can anybody tell me how the flashing was installed?
Nail.
Boom. What does the nail cause? A hole, right? And that is now damage. Period. End of story. Approved. Every time, 100%. If you have the documentation to back it up, right? So now if we're going to submit our estimate after the build, we're putting ourselves at a major disadvantage, okay? So we need to show them photos of the damage flashing with the initial estimate, thinking ahead that they're going to say, we need the damage. It's not damaged. Oh yeah, the code says rusted, damaged, deteriorated. It has nail holes. Okay, great. We need photos of that, right? That's going to always be their next thing. We have to have the proof. And I'm here to tell you, you can get a lot of that proof before the build with the right inspection. And just showing the nails in the flashing, that's bought, okay? But if you don't go through that trouble, then you've got to go in extra hardcore during the build to document all of the flashing that was done. If you don't do any of that and you go into it and don't get any photos, good luck. You see what I mean? So but if we submit the estimate before the build and then they come back and go crazy on us, why'd you send us this estimate? And we get through that process, we're going to know before the build which items they had a problem with. Okay? So now we're going to know to put a spotlight on the items that they had a problem with before the build. We don't need to put a spotlight on everything because they didn't have a problem with everything. Only certain things. Those are the items that we have to prove during the build. If we just simply do that, we're paid. But we don't do that, do we? You know what I mean? We don't do it. So it's like, oh no, I'm going to have the roofers get the photos. Doesn't work. Sales rep, I'm going to have them get the photo. I'm not going to pay him unless it doesn't work. He's not getting paid then because it doesn't work, right? I'm just saying, that's why I started doing boots on. I know it doesn't work. I promise you, it doesn't work. Does not work. You know what I mean? So you got to get the photo. And now, I would almost submit to you, it's so important that you should almost hire a project manager just to camp out and do nothing else at the job, but just take photos all day long. Right? Well, I can't afford a project manager right now, Chad. You don't understand what I'm going through right now. No, I get it. But, okay, so book yourself a photographer for a half day. I'm serious. And don't tell me you can't afford it because it's going to pay for itself and it's going to earn you so much more profit. You see? You can even be thinking about it that way. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
They do have a project manager on the Xactimate where you can go ahead and submit it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times they won't pay.
Sure.
Now, it's a good thing to use it whenever you put in the OMP, because they say we won't pay for both.
One or the other, right? Yeah.
But it's, how can I make them, whenever it's just a roof, how can I make that legit? Because, you do need it. Mm-hmm. Regardless of if it's just the roof being installed. Sure,
and I'll show you. I'll get into that when we get into our A bucket, B bucket, C bucket stuff. I'm going to try my best to remember that question, but I don't want to cover it now because it won't make sense without me building up to that. But please don't let me forget that because it's such a good question, dude. Because it happens all the time, right? Overhead and profit. You have your overhead and profit and your project super management on there, and they say, we're not giving you both, But if you have both of them there, it's a better way to get one. You know what I mean? So you're getting onto something there for sure. So, you know, we want to, if we don't supplement before the build, we don't know which items are going to have a problem with, right? So that's one of the main benefits of, but also because we're supposed to. So like I said before, I'm going to embrace their standards. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to go with the grain, right? So if they want me to prove complexity and coordination in order to get the overhead and profit, that's what I'm going to do from the beginning of the job. You see what I mean? I'm not going to waste any of my energy or time on getting the client to sign some letter that has something to do with policy, okay? I'm going to prove the things that are in my lane, the complexity and the coordination. I'm going with the grain. So they use Xactimate, I'm going to use Xactimate. They use Eagle View, I'm going to use Eagle View. I know there are great other measurement providers, I'm not knocking them, but I'm going to use Eagle View. You know, they use ITEL to identify what type of shingle and siding and flooring there is. I'm going to use ITEL, right? Like I'm going to go with the grain, and I'm going to use all the same tools and standards that they use. Same rules, same logic. They want it to be complex and require coordination. From the beginning of the job, I'm proving complexity and coordination all the way through. And we get to that too a little later on, but I do want to give you a glimpse of it just to give you a preview for your question, is that if they want complexity and coordination, one way to prove that, you know, I know that many of you have heard them say when you're asking for overhead and profit, they're like, send us your subcontractor invoices. Anybody heard them say that, right? So, and if they do that, send them to them. Redact them. Redact the prices. And they say unredact them, say no. You know what I mean? Stand firm on that, okay? It will fly, right? So, but like a lot of times, I'll be the one sending them those invoices before they ever ask for it to prove that coordination, right? The complexity of it, you know, I want you to start, see, you and I could go to some mountain somewhere and go on a hike for the day. And we come back and somebody asks both of us individually how the day went. What would you do, right? And I'm like, it was cool. It was hot, you know, and the altitude messed with me a little bit. I got a headache, but it was all good. You know, and we went down, saw some cool stuff. I got to take some pictures. It was all good. And then you ask the person who was with me, and they take 10 minutes to describe what all happened, right? Like very, very descriptive. So what I'm getting at is, first, and I hinted at this earlier, is that the inspection. We have to prove the complexity and coordination. So the water spot, we're not just killsing over it, we're ripping it out. You know what I mean? Like, and it's going to require multiple trips in and out. And what I want you guys to all start doing is to simply start logging every single thing that you do in your life and on your jobs, down to the Jimmy left the job site at 3:42 to go to ABC to pick up another stick of drip edge, down to met with the client to select the sample, right? All the details that we all know, all these jobs are complex, right? All these jobs require so many details at the end of the day. We're running a million miles trying to keep up with all the promises, right? And just trying to keep our word with everybody. And it's so complex. It is complex. So let's just log it. Let's just log it and tell them the story, okay? And you're like, well, how do you do that? You know, one of the ways that, for those of you who use anybody use Acculinks? Acculinks? No? Anybody use any kind of CRM system here? No? Oh God, we don't have enough time to do a CRM segment, guys. No, but look, your emails, okay, your texts, your calls, right? But I'm not endorsing any type of CRM service out there. But there are Job Nimbus. There is Acculinks. You use Job Nimbus. That is one. There's Acculinks. I'm not recommending any specific kinds. Wouldn't they love to be a sponsor in this situation, right? But I will tell you, you should be using some kind of a CRM system, right? To where everything is being inputted into some system, a database, right? But Acculinks is very good because almost everything that you do in Job Nimbus, right, gets logged kind of almost automatically. Everything that's being done from all the different people, they're logging. And so there's a real simple way to just export activity reports, right? And so you can literally take every action that's ever been done on a job, linked to a customer, and print it out. That to me, and that's just one thing we'll talk about on overhead and profit, is an incredible piece of evidence to back up overhead and profit, to back up job site supervision. I will say though, job site supervision, that usually only gets approved on larger jobs, okay? So like a lot of commercial jobs, but also fire jobs, reconstruction, big tree damage jobs, things like that. Those are, they don't tend to approve it like on a standard roof, fence, gutter, that kind of thing, I'm not saying it's not, like there's going to be jobs that are roofing jobs have a lot of interior work. I'm not saying don't try it. If anything, put it on there. Because I think, guys, if you start from a higher position, you end up at a higher position, right? And so ultimately, you can say that maybe what I do is I take a whole bunch of stuff and throw it at the wall and hope for it to stick, right? Well, I can't really dispute that in a way. I kind of am doing that, but it's very, very calculated. It's very strategized, right? That as far as those things that I am going to stick on that wall. But again, that's why I've got to have that inspection that's so detailed so that I can get that. See, because the inspection is going to show me the damage, which has more items in the estimate, okay? The more code items that I back it up, the more items are going to go in the estimate, which means it's going to be at a higher position, okay? Now, rarely do my estimates get approved 100%. I'll say that. I don't know anybody that can show you how to do that one. Like they can show you how to get the estimate approved 100% every time. Like, dude, when they approve my estimate 100%, I'm worried. I'm like, what did I leave on the table? I forgot something because they proved it all. Like something's not right. You know what I mean? So like you have to think of, so just about every time they're resisting, they're fighting back, right? And we're gonna have to go through a process to end up at a number that if we started at a higher position, we're gonna end up at a higher position. So I don't care who the expert is out there, all right? And what lawyer it is, PAs, whatever, right? They're not getting higher approvals than me on the regular, if ever. They're not. And I'm just utilizing stuff in the contractor lane. But it's just more diligent, So I think for those of you who thought, well, I'm going to go there and learn some kind, from this guy today, some magic secret, like some little form I can get or some key that'll make all this easier, Listen, I can help you make it way more profitable, right? But not easier. I'm sorry about that. You know what I mean? But like it requires a whole lot of hard work that I put in on the regular, So anyway, you can't compare the roofs, side by, like you can't do a per square roof price, okay? And I'm going somewhere with this, but I'm going back to that. You can't do that, in my opinion. It doesn't make any sense at its most basic level to call. Now, I will say that a lot of your subs are going to charge you per square roofing price. I get that. So if you need to think about per square prices, that's the one thing, like only think of it for that. And don't think of it what it's going for, right? Like, but I realize you have to keep track of what it costs you per square, materials and labor, right? However, when you're removing everything and replacing it on the roof, in my experience, the subs, they generally will include all of that for you. Like I've had subs like, we charge this much per square, boss. Okay, yeah, but I need everything taken off and put back on. Oh yeah, we'll do that for you. How much you charge? Do you have a price list for it? No, it's the same. Oh, okay. Well, let me give you an extra $10 a square. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to need all that every time. You know what I mean? Like seriously, so do you see the benefit? Like the subs don't charge you individually and nickel and dime you and like you're doing to the insurance company. Like it's amazing, like the benefit there. And I say don't take advantage. So offer them more money so you can keep them. Along that line, the roof comes down to the deck. I'm saying a lot of roofing things because everybody here told me you're doing roofing. And I have a feeling that most of the things you're involved in starts with the roof, okay? But the roof gets stripped down to the deck, all right? Do we roof over the felt? No, we don't, okay? So like, I'm not gonna ask anybody to raise their hand here, but I know there are people here that don't go all the way down to the deck, all right? Just based on statistics, I'm a numbers guy, all right? And it drives me crazy. And I know if whoever that person is here, people, if we were having a conversation, you'd say, yeah, but Chad, it's more protection. That's what I tell my client. It offers them more protection. It's more watertight. It has more R values, right?
So I got a question.
Yeah.
So I fix quite a bit of other roofers' jobs here in Tennessee. You said based off the statistics. Where can I find like that information?
Good question. I don't know. It's my statistics, meaning I've worked for over 500 contractors, right? And so it's just an overwhelming amount of, and I've had conversations with thousands more than that who I didn't take their job, you know what I mean, take their business. So it's my, and I'm sorry I don't have any, I'm sure there's something like that, right? But hardcore, it's me through 10 years of a process of studying contractors by the hundreds, right? And most of them I found do not go all the way down to the deck. But the other thing is, here's another, that's not my only source. My other source of information is when I drive through all these places that I go. And I'm seeing roofs going on, and I'm literally seeing them roof over the old felt. I'm not talking about roofing over the old shingles, which is also a no-no, but I think that's more on its way out. There's some people that still do layovers, right? But I think most of us know that's a no-no, okay? So I'm not wasting my time with that, but I'm saying that when you take off the shingles, the felt's gotta come off. The felt's gotta come off. You gotta go all the way down the deck. Let me explain why. This will make, don't take my word for it, just let me hear my logic, okay? So, number one, it's illegal. It's bad. It's illegal. It's illegal. Why is it illegal? Well, the building code, all right, says that you have to go all the way down to the deck. That's what the building code says. So if we're going to use the building code for our arguments to get other things approved, but we're not going to comply with it in other areas, we're contradicting ourselves. I think we lose leverage if we do that, right? The other thing is that, guys, how are we going to determine if it's a non-nailable sheathing if we don't take it all the way down to the deck? Just from our attic inspection, we're not going to be able to see everything from the attic, right? So how are we going to determine if it's a non-nailable sheathing? In my mind, if I find anything that's wet, that's non-nailable sheathing. That's also, again, water-soaked underlayment. It's a water-saturated deck, okay? So we can't determine that. And by the way, if it has too many nail holes in it, it's a non-nailable sheathing. I can't determine that unless I take the felt off. Still haven't convinced you, I get it. All right. How about this one? If you don't take the felt off, you're committing insurance fraud. That's a felony in this state and in every other state. Me, I'm a convicted felon. Didn't expect that one, did you? All right? Like the part I left out about my story is when I was young, like I went to federal prison. I was a complete loser. The rest of my life was determined that I was not going to be able to do anything. It's a miracle that I'm standing here in front of you today. Like my life is literally a redemption success. Like it's amazing. People are shocked. But I'm just saying, you know, I've cleaned up my act a long time ago. And as part of that though, it's never going away for me. That's never going away. I ruined my life at a young age, so to speak, okay? That's never, ever, ever going away. And so if anybody here doesn't have a felony yet, please don't get one. It's the most awful life to have that, man, in so many ways. I mean, it's just a taint that lives with you forever.